So we are in Mark 15:21 to 32. It is Tuesday the 2nd of June, and here we are once again engaging in God's word together, knowing that as we do so, it renews our minds, it transforms our thinking. There is such power in developing a daily rhythm in God's word. Now, in today's passage, we read of Jesus' crucifixion. Jesus was like every traitor, every murderer of that time, forced to carry his cross, the wooden beam to the place of crucifixion. Maybe the weight of a 13-year-old child, 45 kilograms or so. He carried it through the busy streets of Jerusalem and up and out of the city to a hill, a cliff that bore the resemblance of a skull known as Golgotha. Jesus was most probably stripped naked at this point. He'd been whipped to within an inch of his life, enough to kill many people. And all along the route, the crowds and the leaders, they spat on him, they mocked him, they hurled insults at Jesus. And we get to verse 24, and it simply says, "And they crucified him." It's hard to imagine the horror, the agony of such an act in today's world. The thing is, Jesus, yes, he was fully God, but he was also fully man. And so I think let's never sanitize or minimize this moment, the pain, the torment, the exhaustion. It would have been no different for Jesus than if it would have been you and I enduring those things. Jesus truly suffered. His deity, his power, it didn't make him immune to suffering. In fact, the guards had to get someone to help him to carry that crossbeam. Jesus was so weak at that point in this story. And I think that's also part of why Jesus refused this wine and myrrh mix. He refused an anesthetic to numb the pain. A little bit like, if I may make a comparison with my wife Kirsten when she was in labour, her plan, her intention was to give birth and refuse as much pain treatment as possible because she wanted to be fully present in that moment, and she was able to do that. Spurgeon, the Baptist preacher of the 1800s, I do love Spurgeon, and he said that of this suffering, that Jesus didn't love suffering, he loved souls. So why did Jesus endure and engage with this moment in the way that he did? Simply because this suffering was necessary for our salvation. The punishment that you and I deserve, the suffering that we deserve, was being poured out on Jesus in this moment. The wrath, the holy anger of God was being laid upon Christ. God's justice was being outworked as the sins of the whole world somehow rested upon Jesus. So too did the punishment for the sins of the whole world. But also, in a sense, this suffering somehow qualified Jesus. It perfected Jesus as the new and great eternal high priest, the one who even now is interceding for you at the right hand of God the Father. Like it says in Hebrews 4, that wonderful passage, that Jesus, our high priest, was tested in every way and yet without sin. Why? So that he can empathize with our weakness and suffering, so that we can hold firm to our faith at times of suffering, and so that we can approach God in our suffering. We can approach the throne of God with boldness and confidence, because we know there's no debt left over our lives, no outstanding sin, because of the work of Jesus. I sometimes describe the gospel like this. I say that someone like him could do something like that for someone like me. It's mind-blowing, isn't it, that he went through that with you in mind, so that you could enjoy an intimate relationship with God the Father. So take some time to worship him today. Maybe put on some worship music that focuses on the cross of Jesus, and thank Him that because He was punished, you have been set free.